Hello, friends and family, because I know Stephanie, you watch pretty regular. My older sister Stephanie out in California for the rest of the world. That's who Stephanie is. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. Jen in, is it Holland or Denmark? I've forgotten now. Jen, I know you've been with me a long time. Hello. Hello, everyone. And it is Wednesday, and I got to change my calendar. It is the 1st of March. What's March looking like? Well, I already have shows every week in March. I already have work every week in March, which is good. Do I get tired? Yeah, I really do. I do. But we all have to do something, right? Imagine if I were a farmer getting up at the crack of dawn, I'd probably love that, but I'd be saying, yeah, it's work, it's hard, it's tiring. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about music and see what else pops up, okay? Record sales are still going well, and I received your message this morning, so I'll get that in there. I received an order from Denmark. Thank you. I love that my music is worldwide. The person who ordered from Denmark yesterday left a message on my yesterday's video so I caught it this morning. And they requested a magazine and for the record to be signed. So you'll get a magazine and I will sign it for you. I don't automatically sign the records, people. I don't assume that everyone wants my records with an autograph. And I'm pleased, they're selling. I'm going to be sold out of. I thought I'd have Flyover forever for a minute, but apparently not. Yesterday, in some of the comments, an album was mentioned by someone who I haven't met yet, but apparently is watching me pretty regular. And I have a feeling we'd probably get along if we met. But he mentioned an album and an artist that I think is fantastic. So you all should know about this person if you don't. Richard Bermer. This is an album of his called Mosaic. I don't know if this is his very first album. It might be. Richard Bermer is no longer with us. His music is categorized as New Age. As you know, I hate categories. This is just some of the most beautiful, serene, ambient music that I've ever heard. Electronic Vignettes by Richard Bermer. Mosaic. And yes, spiritual. I agree with you, Garrett. This music is spiritual. It's wonderful. I also have by him On the Third Extreme. Fantastic. I think he takes what he started with Mosaic one step further with this. Wonderful. Again, the New Age term I think is a discredit. This is beautiful, fantastic music that you probably will like. Some of you just need to find out about this. You'll love this. You'll love this. Tomorrow, Roots of Electric Jazz. The weeks go by quick anymore. It must be my age, but, I turn around and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then we're starting again. Tomorrow, Roots of Electric Jazz on the radio, 2 to 4. Pulled this last night thinking that it would just be a background play while I was doing some cataloging, and I turned it over. This is really a monster good album. Wallenstein, Blitzkrieg, German band, 1971. This is a reissue of their first album, organ-based hard rock prog, but this album is rocking hard, and it's like there's a maelstrom of activity. The organ is really heavy and busy on this album. Heavier than their later albums. This is really good. I love it when I play something. It happened twice last night, maybe more than twice. I like it when I go back and play an album that I've had forever, and it surprises me how good it is, that I've forgotten how good it is. Here's another one where I'd forgotten how much I like certain parts of this. Japanese pop band Ippodu, Radio Fantasy, led by Masami Tuchiya, guitarist there in the middle, who also played with Japan and Yellow Magic Orchestra, did work with them. This is a mixture of cheesy pop. They do a version of Time of the Season. I think it's terrible, honestly. But Radio Cosmos, Radio Fantasy, several instrumental tracks on here, I think still sound kind of like, well, this is something new. A real neat mix of Oriental traditional sounds and rhythms with electronics. I think this is, I wouldn't say quite half of this album is really good. Almost half of this is really good. And this is one of those records that if you look for it, you'll find it for like $3. Here's an album that I've had since a long time, decades. I had no idea it would become a collector's item. It is now a collector's item. This goes for as much as $100 to $200 a copy, and this is an original. J.K. and Company, Suddenly One Summer, released in 1968. Apparently the kid who made this album was only 16 at the time. Really doesn't sound like it. Very accomplished, really psychedelic, also very pop and melodic. Really good album. The cover graphic fits it perfectly. Really good album, J.K. and Company. You know, folks get at me regularly. Well, you should write a book. You should write a book. I certainly do have a book or two in me. I'm not sure what it will take to get me to write one. I'm not interested in writing a book. Thank you for being interested in me enough to say I should write a book. Another longtime favorite, which didn't surprise me last night because I just love this album so much. Terje or Terry Ripdahl from Norway, What Comes After. Very distinct guitar player. He's just got a sound and a style and an approach that is very much his. And this is an ECM classic. I can still remember times when I was not even out of my teens, partying with friends, listening to this. I can still remember those moments where this album would just blow us away. So powerful. I still remember those particular moments. It still is powerful now. Yeah, guys, get into Vinyl Williams. I played this yesterday, I do stuff. I have stuff going on all day. Somehow I managed to play this whole album twice. And I know what I like, and I love this album. And if you haven't seen it, look at the vinyl. Isn't that nice? It's a double album, too, so each record, the swirl or whatever the patterning comes out slightly different. Vinyl Williams. Still, the words are on the records. And I played with these guys. Some of you guys know that. Chemicals played with Vinyl Williams last year. They came through town on tour and we opened for them. Great show. The words are kind of cosmic, but it's like they still don't. The music is just way more important to me. Just way more important. I've said it before. If words are so important and so powerful, why is the world so screwed up? We've been saying beautiful things and we have knowledge, but we're not using it. All right. Someone wrote on Facebook that yesterday was the 44-year anniversary of this album by Camel. So I pulled it and played it. This is one of their albums that I never got real familiar with. I discovered the band when Mirage was released, and I bought that when I was working in Texas. This I only got a few years ago. And so in comparison to what they did next, this was before Mirage, this pales, but it's good. It is a good album. Progressive rock, but actually they take a lot from Santana, in my opinion, the way that they arranged stuff originally. I showed you Embryo, and then someone made some comments, and I love Embryo. I do have some more Embryo, don't I? I do have more Embryo. Yes, very interesting German band, and that's very cool. I forget your name, but someone left a comment who has played with the members of Embryo, and I think knows them. I love hearing that. I also love it when I hear from the musicians themselves, because that happens too. That musicians whose records I show will show up and say, wow, that's cool. But here's a reissue of Opal by Embryo. The original on Or had a balloon coming out of the middle of the cover and something else, I think. This is my favorite by them, Steighaus. Just fantastic. And what a cool, strange cover. So, this is what I loved about the European rock albums of the 70s. The record covers were so weird. You know, America always tries to market and package everything. And I love it when stuff is outside of that form. Like a lot of, what I saw comparatively coming from the rest of the world. Rock Session, Embryo. Really good. Surfin' by Embryo. Actually, I've come to like this album a lot more than when I first got it. Embryo with the No Neck Blues Band. I think that's Christian Bichard on the cover there. And that's it. The next thing that happened to come out is this Emerald's Web Catspaw album, which is electronic, kind of considered new agey. Again, I don't like that term. Here's an album that I need to play. I haven't played in a long time. Emerald Web. What was next alphabetically on the shelf coming up is my Emerson, Lake and Palmer section. And what was right before it that I actually happened to grab is Eloy. Eloy is right before Embryo on my shelves there. Ra, Eloy. I have the earlier ones. These I try to put them in chronological order. Colors, Eloy. Okay. So I've been keeping these about this long because when I do it like this, they only take about an hour, and then I see that it's lagging, so my computer is having problems processing. So I better go ahead and stop here. Last thing I'll say is, and again, this is my channel, so I'll talk about whatever I want to. I can only stand to watch just a tiny bit of the presidential address last night online. The horrible double standard of privilege and rich people and whiteness. A black or brown skinned person would have been stoned to death after that bullshit last night. But because he's and I'm not gonna mince my words, because he's a fat, rich white man, he gets away with this. Is bullshit. That's not my president. Good God. Notice that my anger is about the situation. I don't hate Trump. He's not qualified. So if my words made you angry, please take a minute and calm yourself, because I didn't aim them at you, and they're not meant for you as a Trump supporter if you are, or even if you aren't. I'm expressing my feelings, and that I can. More people need to grow up and not take personally when other people speak their mind. We should be able to speak our mind. It would help when you're speaking your mind that you're not just spewing out garbage and hate and trash, and I'm not. I expressed justified anger just now at white privilege and classism. That's wrong. It's wrong, and it goes on, and it's going to go on. And here's the last thing I'll say. Then I will end with a smile. Because classism and white privilege is never going to be acknowledged, we are on a one-way path to just continuous degradation and attrition and falling apart until we have to start all over again. And mark my words, those two issues are a big part of why we aren't going to turn it around, because white privilege and classism are two issues that don't want to be addressed by a lot of people. I got that smile.